and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. Look at this, Julia Walker and her son Monica Rona are opening up the throttles with Marcel Smithers on the front here. This is definitely an interesting pace to set from the gun. Shoe in that polka dot skin suit in Category 3. Lloyd in the polka dot skin suit in Category 4 onto the second climb section. So this is going to be really key now, because this is where the riders really have to be smart about how much effort they put in here. The more effort they put in now, the less going to have later. Marcel Smithers leading Category 2 has company. Serena Vittori has made the junction, making it 2 riders at the front of Category 2.
Kristen Kulczynski leading on the road at the moment, leading the Category 1 race. She's 38 seconds clear of the chasers, Fua and Bassoni. And Catherine Fua asking Roberta Bassoni for some help here. So come on up and help us out. Let's work together on this flat section and see what we can do.
If Kristen Kulczynski was to look over her shoulder 3 seconds back, Catherine Fua, the chase is on.
The demon rider that is Catherine Fua is coming.
Fua has put 30 seconds into Kulczynski on that climbing segment. Catherine Fua was waiting. She was asking for help from Bassoni at one stage. She has blasted past and has put time in on the climb. 9 minutes 56 seconds. Catherine Fua should be enjoying this. We're looking for a smile on her face because she's going to come to the line. This is the finish. Look at that. Catherine Fua punches the air in delight. She times it to perfection. Your winner of the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club Qualifier Race number 2, Catherine Fua. So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 3 in August. My name's Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio with
the one and only Emma Martin.
I hope there is one and only of you. I'm not sure I could cope with 2 of you in the studio.
Could you imagine
one
that?
Time it'd be quite scary having your doppelganger here as well. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to qualifier race number 3, everybody. This is going to be an absolute blast. We had a great race last week and the week before in qualifiers 2 and 1. And remember, of course, riders need 2 qualifying rides to make it through to the final. But today, we've got something special and something new.
As Led Zeppelin would say, we are going to California for the women's race today. 35 kilometers of racing, 500 meters of climbing, 5 sprints along the way at 200 meters per sprint. You can see them on your screen in green. 2 climbs today. The first one not coming till 23.6 kilometers. That's the Hawk Hills climb. It's 1.1 kilometers at an average gradient of 4.8%. Then we transition to 28.2 kilometers into this 35 kilometer race, and we hit Spring Road climb. It's 6.3 kilometers in length, an average gradient of 4.4. There are some stepped sections along the way. This is going to be interesting. Who's California dreaming today, Matt? We are going to see.
Well, I'm not sure there's too much Beach Boys today on the shoreline, but we're going to see as we head down and round. 4 race categories, 4 different genres of music, if you like. We're going to start off with Category 4, which are the riders in red, move to Category 3 in blue, to 2 in green, and then to Category 1, which will be our riders in the yellow jerseys. Now, quick reminder for you that our riders can ride as teams and individuals in the qualifiers, and the Petit Four squad are here yet again. They are always here representing their team and their squad. And if you are on a team, do let us know. Put your name in. Make sure you enter it in when you enter, because we love to do our research on you. Now, the Petit Four squad are Nikki Lloyd and Simone Francis. 2 very, very talented riders. Will they be able to take away a victory? A top 5 here today be in the prizes. It's time to get ready, and away we go. Qualifier number 3, up and riding and the first qualifier with the new 3.8.0 update to the racing. So we're going to see if that changes how these riders perform out on course. You'll see that they look ever so slightly different as well. The avatars just a little bit more detailed, different shape, different movement on them as well, and great detail on the game.
There is indeed, and we're in with Ella Vink at the moment. And for our new riders, you can see Ella's name is highlighted in blue on the right-hand side of your screen. It's her stats that are on the screen as well. So at the very top of the screen, you can see the watts in green, indicating she's part and parcel of the pack, part and parcel of the draft. When those numbers go white, it indicates she's out of the draft. Time elapsed, her current heart rate, and her cadence is the information you can see.
Really important, the stats, the numbers, because that is all part of esports. Every discipline in cycling has its own unique features, whether that is throwing a triple backflip on the freestyle or whether that is heading out on the course and being able to observe and watch all the stats. Now, in with Nikki, this is one of the great things. And of course, we've got to say, Happy birthday to Nikki Lloyd. Congratulations, Nikki, there. It's bedecked with birthday festivities and happy birthday, 21 as always, as we always say to everybody. I think the pom-poms on the end of the bars are an absolute genius touch as well. And I'll tell you something, you'll have earned the birthday cake by the time we get to the end of today's ride. But it is a birthday for Nikki Lloyd today. She's not the only rider who's a regular on the Sunday Race Club as well, because I do believe there's another birthday. Well, there's quite a few birthdays today. We will try and remember them all, but it's quite tricky to keep up. Not necessarily here on the club, but regular riders.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And as we roll through today, you never know, we may see more birthday girls.
Okay.
Well, Nikki Lloyd is currently going through Toon City. You can see her underneath the arch there with that pack. Now, in terms of that race, you can see a couple of riders dropped off the back of this Category 4 race already. But riders in the pack, and it's a big pack of riders today in Category 4. 31 riders on the start sheets in Category 4 today. Not the largest race field out of all the 4 categories, but it's a big one.
It is. Now, if we have a hunt through the, have a look through the names, we've got people like Jesper Nicola Lustre, we've got people like Salam Al-Kabi in here, we've got people like Sandra Ferron, Sarah Tan, White Sai in here as well. I mean, there is a huge mix of people. Who are the people that you're expecting or have shown so far this month some great form?
Well, let's take a look. So the endurance climb last week was epic. The winning time in Category 4, Hamilton, 2 hours, 13 minutes, 29 seconds. Now, I'm not expecting it to take that long today here in California as we're in with Tejeros, and we can see there's some video footage going on in that room as well at this point in time. But Annalyn Tejeros, part and parcel of this leading pack, strong rider, Hannah Goodall, Ella Vink, Cynthia Narvaez, Bridget Bremner, Alzat is here as well as Francis Idzik. Now, Natalia Idzik has been riding really strongly as well. Liz Smithson is here, and great to see her. Now, this could suit her too.
Indeed, somebody who's been climbing stronger and stronger. And you did mention the epic climb there last week. We will get into that in a little bit more detail once we're a little bit further into the show. If you are wondering what we're going on about the epic climb, the endurance climb, we will let you into a few secrets if you haven't watched it, and we won't give you any spoilers on that either. Now, got our first group of riders away, the Category 4. The next group is Category 3. The big team here are Grind My Gears, a full squad representation by 5 riders here today. So a big thank you to the Grind My Gears squad for entering such a big squad. We've got Aline Francisco da Silva, we've got Angel Ann Hadlock, we've got Novelin Kekkonen, Stefani Piccolo, and Tanya Howeiler. It's a bit of a super squad, really.
It is.
In terms of Category 3. We've also got Golden Light, Team Golden Light in here, but not with that same representation. I mean, Grind My Gears is a big squad.
It is 5 riders, and Piccolo took the win last week. De Silva was fourth. In fact, there you go. You can see Stefani Piccolo on your screen. She's outdoors. She's outdoors. Is she indoors? Well, we can see outdoors. There's greenery in the background. But she's on that start line and she's on the final seconds to count down. And away go category 3. Piccolo is in the mix. She's on the screen. She's in the pack. And that large pack of 35 riders who were on the start sheets today head out of the start pen and into California. They're going downtown LA. That's the first sprint they're going to see at 2.9 kilometers. And that's the green banner of that sprint, because that's our leading category 4 pack who started 5 minutes ago. They are heading through that sprint section at the moment, whilst the category 3 riders leave the start pen.
So into the sprint section, each sprint section earning points, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points as they go through. The sprint taken, or the fastest time through that section taken by Ferron, an 18.952 second sprint through the 200 meters. Nice short sprint sections. I quite like the 200 meters versus the 300s personally. I think it's a nice sprintable distance, irrespective, and it's repeatable. Where the 300 is just that little bit.
It's just a little bit too long for you, isn't it, Matt?
Pretty much 2 meters is too long for a sprint most of the time. But no, I think it's a good distance, and I think it's really representative of a sprinter if they're going to contest that. But we don't always see that because, of course, although it does get you the points for the sprint competition and could result in that green skin suit, showing that you're the leader in that competition and potentially the winner at the end, there's no prizes for that. So if you're focusing on that final finish line, it may be energy wasted, but a lot of people will use that as an attack point. And we may see that with category 3, maybe more so than category 4 in some ways, because the further up the race feels, it gets harder and harder, I think, to split riders out. People are super, super consistent the further up we go. Now,
I love Toon City.
Toon City is amazing. They've got to say, a fantastic world. It's not the only world. It's not the latest world even, because worlds are coming thick and fast here on MyWhoosh. And the latest release is out. Do make sure you jump on board. Make sure you follow the instructions in terms of downloading the version appropriate for you. The version you're watching at the moment is the MyWhoosh HD. And we're just in with Angel Hadlock, both in real life, morning, afternoon, evening, Angel, wherever you are in the world. One of our regular riders on here, and a rider who is a fearsome competitor.
Yes.
The will to win is strong in this one. If we're doing film references and cartoons.
Well, you just can't help it when you're in California.
No.
But you can see the pack, and it's a big pack rolling here in category 3, nice and tight across the road. What I'm giggling at is the number of characters wearing rainbow jerseys.
I know. So the rainbow jersey, for those people who are maybe not regular cyclists, the rainbow bands across their middle horizontally are the World Championship bands. They are the bands that are awarded to the world champion. They indicate those world championships. Don't forget, of course, the UAE has 2 sets of world championships on the way in and through. Will we see Rosa Herrera at the indoor cycling world championships in October?
Well, she's giving everyone a wave at the moment because she's right on the bike and right in the mix at the moment in this category 3 race. It is a big group on the road. They continue to roll. They're not at that first sprint section yet that we saw category 4 go through. Well, the next group, Matt, that are due to start, you can see them in start pen, category 2 and category 1 down there in those start pens waiting.
And 5 minutes separate each of the groups from each other. So 5 minutes between category 4 to 3, 5 between 3 to 2, and 5 minutes between 2 and 1. Category 2, our penultimate category. Now, no teams entered as such in this. That will all change next week for the finals, I'm sure, where the team prizes come into play. But it's a strong, strong race field. And it's almost, if not quite the biggest in its own right, I think. By my guessing, I'm thinking it's very close.
Well, it is close. There's 31 riders on the start sheets in category 2 today. Yaramillo is here, Prado, Montgomery, Lee, Van Shaw, Miller, Takanis, Smithers, and Vittori, who took first place last week. Whitelaw, McAlpine. McAlpine had a great ride. Welcome back, Wendy McAlpine.
Yeah,
I think
she
took
absolutely
6th
flying
last week.
She
went
strong.
really well, really, really strongly, and she's back down in that start pen, waiting and ready to go.
So you can see all 4 categories there. Category 4 currently at 5.4 kilometres. Category 3, they are at 2.8 kilometres covered, which means that they're just going into the sprint. Category 2 are waiting to go, as our Category 1. Category 1 will have 5 more minutes. When Category 2 leaves the pens, they're winding it up. You can see the power being put down, and away they go. So this is the key moment. Get that power down. Make sure that you get out with the group. Now, if you're looking at the screen for the first time on a MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, well, first of all, welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Left-hand side of your screen, you will see a radar view. And it's a bit like watching a radar in an airplane. Each of those little dots represent a rider. You can see the pen is there with the red dot. The rider's still in the pen. The green dots are all on the way out from the pen. They are the riders in Category 2. Each disc, each dot is representative of a rider. If all the dots are together in one place, we don't actually have a vertical pile of dots, but we do have them all in one spot. That means that it is one big group. As they stretch out, that will get longer, and it's a really good way to watch what's happening in the races. Now we're in with one of the riders who has qualified for the World Championships for the Philippines. Angelica Altamirano is in the window on your left-hand side. It is a window into our riders' world, quite literally, and it's always great to see our riders. Now, a rider who really, really is, if we talk about improvements, some people have incremental improvements. Angelica Altamirano has been improving massively week on week, hasn't
she?
She's really, really strong.
Well, I think she's getting strong, and she's really getting to understand the platform now. She's really getting to understand the racing on the Sunday Race Club and what you need to do to be part and parcel competitively of the Sunday Race Club. It is a very specific type of racing. It's hard, and it really well. No, it's different, isn't it? You know, German Prado right next to Altamirano. These two riders really, really strong. Both qualified for the semi-finals of the World Championships on September the 6th. So it's going to be great to see both of them there. The two really strong riders from the Philippines. But you know, we say it's hard. It's not a points race. It is a scratch race. The Sunday Race Club. So it's first over the line. 35 kilometres of hard racing, and it is hard normally, I say normally, from the go. So it is about, you know, it's a strong FTP effort, and we've heard, you know, on numbers of podcasts who have interviewed the elite riders in Category 1, that even they, when they start racing the Sunday Race Club, progress and get stronger.
And it is the perfect training session. You know, it is so specific, training and racing for that discipline and for the particular platform, because every different type of racing is different. If you went from a time trial bike to a road bike, I was down at the local kids club down where we are at the moment, and I was down having a look around their club room, and they were saying that actually they've specifically got hold of a second-hand time trial bike, because they wanted to get the kids used to riding a time trial bike as well as riding a road bike. It's a different position. It's a different way of putting the effort in. It's a different way of looking down the road and seeing what's in front of you. Different way of taking in the information. You've got your body in a different position. You have to get used to that. And I think that's what, and hydration, the type of aero bottle, water bottle you might use would be different. And that's the same here when we're in the Sunday Race Club. Every single race is different.
Well, I'll tell you something that is quite interesting here is we're not saying anybody go for the sprint here. I say that, and well, there's a little bit of movement on the front, but it's not strong. There is not a strong push as they come through the amusement park sprint.
That almost was a last-minute kick.
Well, you know, come on.
Look, we're all nearly there. Nobody's gone. Oh, blow it! I'm going to go.
Well, it was Alicia Borsoy who's taken the fastest time there in Category 3.
Hold your horses.
Gracia in 2. Though, do you know what's really interesting for me is this pack of Category 3 racers, 26 riders in that pack at the moment. Gina de Grazia setting the fastest time there. It looks like she's the one in the skin suit.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting. 26 riders in the leading group in Category 3. That's a huge pack of riders rolling on the course.
And they're already through the sprint as we drop into our Category 1. Now, lots of teams. We've got the Chill Out Korea, the Chill Out team, and that is Madana Degamashadi going to be leading them out. The peak performers. We've got Amelia Van Hove, Marlene Bjerhad, and I would imagine their team captain today. That's going to be Kristen Kolchik. Kolchinsky. We have the Sweat Sensation squad. Amelia Velt, Bruni, Mina Koistonen, and Catherine Fua. Could well be a day for her, but we will see if she can be headed by the Effetto skier squad, where you've got Dorothy Gonzalez-Ruhr, who's on some storming form at the moment, Joanna Kalman, Matilda Field, and Roberta Bassoni. Will it be Bassoni's day? We will find out. Category 1 leave the pen, and they are on course here. 35 kilometres, 500 metres of climbing, 5 sprints, 2 categorised climbs. It's a long way.
Well, I can't believe, I know you just given a roll call there to the teams from the peak performers, but I can't believe Kristen Kolchinsky can actually be on the start line today because she took the win on the Mount Washington Hill climb yesterday and beat the course record by over 3 minutes.
With a flat tyre.
I know.
En route, a puncture that got sealed.
But I'll tell you who is here, and that's Catherine Fua. Yeah. And she was epic last week on that endurance climb. She waited, and boy, did she take the win in style.
Yeah, let's talk about that endurance climb and in terms of Catherine Fua's tactics. She rode it. The climb itself, for those who haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It's available on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. A long, basically no descent for the full 35k, multiple climbing sections, all of which are about 3k long.
5 climbing sections in the women's, 5 main climbing sections. There were other small climbs at the start and at the finish, but 5 main climbing sections that were very, very steep. On average, if you crossed them, around 8.5% was pretty much average across the 5. Some were steeper, some were slightly shallower, with around a 3-kilometre flat transition section between each of them. So it was a phenomenal race effort. It really, really was.
And when we saw the tactics being played out there, Catherine Fua had let Kristen Kolchinsky go on the climb. It's her specialist territory for Kolchinsky. Once it goes skyward, a hill climb.
Yes.
Fua at one point was very mindful of that gap. We saw that, and we saw that on the rewind with her looking for assistance and wanting some assistance, and wanted to keep that gap down, riding smart there. And Bassoni, who is riding on a different team, it was to her benefit as well for Roberta Bassoni, the rider that we're in with now from Italy, to get that assistance as well, wasn't it? Because that allowed them to come back. And then when Kolchinsky's effort was basically done, we saw Fua go on the offensive. Her timing was spectacular. And Bassoni and Fua together, I mean, they're climbing incredible. Bassoni's style, though, it's the long climb effort was perfect for her. You can see her on the bike at the moment there. She was super smooth, but she was pushing a big gear, really working on that climb, but at maybe a more steady tempo than we saw Fua. Fua is an aggressive, sort of a ruler type rider who could transfer that because it was 5 climbs as part of one long climb with flat sections.
Yeah, and Fua came back really strong at the end, and that for me is what clinched it for her. You know, she didn't go early. She reserved her effort, and she had something left on that last climb, and she pulled back a gap of 38 seconds to Kolchinsky, and then went up and passed and over the top, and it was in that latter stage of the race that she won. Now, in category 2, which is where we are at the moment, it was Vittori from Smithers, from Montgomery, Yaramillo and Prado were the top 5 last week. The winning times are really interesting on the endurance climb. So Fua's winning time was 1 hour, 29 minutes and 47 seconds. In fact, across the top 10 in category 1, the gap back, across the top 5, the gap back to 5th place from Fua was 2 minutes, 12 seconds.
And then in category 2, the time?
Category 2, Vittori's winning time, 1 hour, 42 minutes, 11 seconds. And the gap across the top 5, 2 minutes, 36.
Category 3?
Category 3, Piccolo took the win in 1 hour, 56, 17. 4 minutes across the top 5.
Okay.
So a bigger gap back.
Yep.
And then in category 4, Hamilton took the win in 2 hours, 13 minutes, 29 seconds with a 1 minute 35 gap back across that
incredibly
top 5.
Close in there. So the gaps didn't increase or decrease across there as a trend. It was very, very similar, but it was in that. Thank you very much for anybody who was sending over comments at the end of the show. It was a bit of a marathon here in the studio as well as out on the course.
Can I tell you?
And thank you to everybody who commented about the stats. We will bring you stats on the way through, but we don't want to turn this into a complete hot rate power wattage stat fest because we want to look at our riders
We
as
do.
well. Like,
Well, can I
Sarah
just
Ludden.
say congratulations, because last week, the last rider over the line, 3 hours, 8 minutes of racing. Absolutely phenomenal effort from all of the women last week. Sarah London on our screens at the moment, part and parcel of this pack in category 2. She's one of the really strong riders in this race
Yep.
field, and possibly this could suit her today.
I think it could. I think it's one of those race routes where, irrespective of what type of rider you are, there's something for you. Yes, it's a long climb at the end, 6.3 kilometers, but it's quite stepped. So there is the opportunity to change the pace on there and maybe break that up. Now, on the screen, we are just going through the downtown sprint. You can see the label just over the top there, that little vertical pillar of light that gave us the title going through, so our riders know exactly where they're heading going in through. You can see that the category 1's lack of engagement with that sprint was a clear indicator that they're focused on the end. And we do find this when we're on a new race route on the Sunday Race Club. One of the things that I've always noticed is that we generally find more reserved riding in the early stages because riders aren't certain how much effort they need to reserve for key sections. Now, key sections is for me, there are 3 key sections here. Section 1, there is a climb that comes between sprint number 2 and sprint number 3. So that's between the end of sprint number 2, so at about 5.5 kilometers, and the start of area 52 sprint. That's at 11k. In that section, those 5k, there is a climb in there. There's a climb at the Hawk Hills, and there's the final climb. And riders don't know how much effort they need to reserve. So when we look at our sprint through here, through the downtown sprint, which is our first sprint, you can see that we have blue jerseys of category 3 with Gina Di Grazia having the fastest time there. We have the green jersey in there and no yellow jerseys. It's a real mix of riders. And for me, that says the riders are riding through. Also, I think if you look at the power, because you've probably got the power up in front of you, is it very similar? Are we seeing any big spikes of anybody particularly going for it?
No, and actually, other than the first few riders through, so De Grazia, Morge from category 2, Borsoi, category 3, Chizikowicz, Chu, and Zuluga in. So the top 6 or 7 riders. Van der Shaw put a push in through there as well from category 2 in 7th place. Then we are pretty much seeing consistent pace throughout the category 3 and category 2 fields all the way through. Category 1, again, at a very similar pace, around 3 watts per kilo rolling through. So that's a very steady pace for category 1. It is all relative, dependent. But 55th place for Cornelia Engstrom. She was the fastest rider in category 1 through, and they come through as a pack of 19 riders. Let me just give you a heads up as to who's in that leading pack in category 1. Cornelia Engstrom, Asulia Kasani, Mary Kate McCarthy, Mandana Manshandi, Catherine Fua, Gabby Guerrera, Natalie Stevenson, Marlena Briarhead, Mina Koinstner, Hannah Gianatti, Roberta Bassoni, Maria Holdcroft, Mel Bruni, Jacina Menendez, Gonzalez Rua, Nevin Hermansen, Field, and Velt are the riders in that leading pack in category 1.
So they're the leaders on the top left-hand side of your screen. If you go diagonally across, you can see that our category 4 riders are currently on the first of those key points, the first climb. And that is between the amusement park, which is where our category 1 riders are heading in towards the sprint, and the area 52 sprint, which is at 11.3 kilometers. In between, we have the climb that takes them over. You can see category 4 already splitting on that section. So it looks like that's starting to break up the racing at the moment in category 4. A fair way behind that. We are only at 5 kilometers at the moment for category 1, and you can see this pack once again rolling on through, reserving their energy. And I think this is one of the things for me about category 1. It's very professional in terms of I have a job to do, and that job is to take away the win or the best position at the end of the race. And that is the sole focus of being here. And nothing will distract me. Whereas there's more, I want to say joie de vivre. There you go. You can tell we're...
Are you telling me that you think those in their yellow jerseys don't have any joie de vivre?
They don't have as much fun.
Oh,
They are
I
more focused. You
disagree.
can disagree all you want.
I
don't think that.
disagree.
I think it's a different type of fun, let's say, because they are aiming. They've got a goal, and that is the finish line, and that is it. And they're saving the energy more. There's more freedom, I think, when you're in category 4 or 3 or 2 to, well, do you know what? I'm going to go have a little sprint at this. I'm going to have a dig. I'm going to have a push. You can see here, amusement park sprint number 2. Where are the yellow jerseys? They are more than capable of taking the sprint win here. 55th was the last sprints. The first yellow jersey last time round.
Well,
55th.
they're consistent, I tell you.
What position?
54th.
Oh, okay. So, well, they've got a little bit quicker. You know, there's one other rider that actually managed to go quicker. But for me, that says these riders at the moment are being very good. Now, interesting. Borsoi de Grazia Chu again up
Van
near
Shaw,
the front up here. Van Shaw again.
Jizikowicz.
As well. And it really is very similar riders up at the front. Now, you can see all 4 groups of riders on your screen. You've got the yellow jerseys of category 1. They've just made their way through the amusement park sprint. Category 2 at the moment, they are at the top of with a little bit of a rise at the moment. They are currently at 9.4K. So they've got up to the top there. And now I think we're going to see a little bit of a movement because Catherine Fu has decided, you know what? Time to stretch the legs.
She's proving she's got joie de vivre.
Yeah, Catherine, if you are having a little joie de vivre moment, un moment, joie de vivre, then, no, don't worry, you haven't tuned into the French commentary. They don't sound anything like my bad French accent. Catherine out of the saddle here, just stretching. One of the things I think for me as a rider, I didn't like racing. I don't want to go into a key climb without having had a kick.
Well, there is a small
And Catherine's
climb.
had a kick here before we've got to the climb. And it's on its way, that climb. I think that was right, let's see how the legs are feeling today. Let's see what everybody else has got there.
Well, Fua is indeed pushing on at the front of this Category 1 race field. McCarthy is doing the chasing with Bruni and Velt. So there is no real stretch because Bruni now comes up onto the wheel of Fua right alongside her, side by side, those 2 riders. And the climb starts now. So Bruni, Fua, McCarthy, Velt, Koinsnan, and the rest of the 19 riders currently in the leading group in Category 1 all together as they go up and over the climb on the course. This is not a categorized climb, but it does lead them on the other side into Area 52.
So Area 52, the sprint itself is at 11.3 kilometres. You can see that is between the Category 2 and 3 leading group. Category 3 at the moment, well, you can see that they are well on the way in and through, just in with Amy Marin at the moment at 13.3K as they make their way around. The Category 3 riders starting to catch Category 4 riders. The leaders are further ahead, but the riders at the moment in Category 3. Well, you can see Doreen Chu here. She's got the sprint jersey. She's got the most points in those sprints to date. However, and it is a big however, she's just been distanced. And this is why I think it's dangerous going for the sprints sometimes, because if you put a big sprint effort in, and then you get dropped because your legs are like jelly,
well, I think it
you
depends
could
on,
have lost the race.
I think it depends on what your goal is for the race, Matt. A large number of these riders race week in, week out. And sometimes in that training plan, that overall plan that they have in terms of their cycling, being at the front and winning this race may not be on the agenda. Taking part and going for the sprints may give them something different on a Sunday that they may need in that overall plan. Well, that was the overall end of the next sprint for our Category 2 riders, the Area 52 sprint. And I can tell you the Category 2 riders are not showing at the top of the leaderboard at all because it's one big pack of riders. Kelsey Jade Van Shaw is the rider in Category 2 who sets the fastest time through there. Doreen Chu on our screen working hard at the moment. She's just off the back of that Category 3 bunch, but it is indeed the Category 3 bunch who have set the fastest time through that sprint at the moment, and Doreen Chu currently sets the fastest time so far through Area 52.
So Chu working hard to get back on to the group here. You can see the effort in the rider's efforts left-hand side. You can see the avatar responding on the right-hand side here. Chu kicking out 4.5 watts per kilo. She's trying to close down the group, doing 2.8 to about 3.5 watts per kilo here. Chu really burying herself to get onto the back of this group. It's going to be really key. 3 seconds the gap now. If she can make it back in here, she'll have brought herself back to the leaders. And this is the danger. You go through a sprint, you go at the wrong time, you can be in trouble. But as you say, it could well be that today's game plan is about doing sprint efforts, is about doing recovery. Chu, right-hand side, chasing in category 3, left-hand side, category 1. One of the things about this climb here, Emma, we're coming up to the top here. It's a long transition up over the top. And that means that you've got a chance to get on over the top if you make it there at the right time. Now, Chu is just making contact.
She's made contact, yeah.
And she's made contact just before they hit another of the bumps, another of the climbs, which is pretty critical. So, category 1 at the moment, just about to go through the boundary and into area 52. They've just gone up on the top. They've climbed up over the top of the main climb that is not categorized. It's the first major climb of the day. You can see just making the way past the military base, going in to the tunnels, going into the secret part of Area 52 that you won't see.
Do you know what?
One
day, you know, having just watched the closing of the Olympics in Paris, one day you're going to see when they get to that Area 52, Tom Cruise comes swinging in, jumping in a helicopter and flying underneath the tunnel with the racers. Well, Catherine Fua needs no Tom Cruise alongside her because she's got that power in her legs. Guerra is there, Biarhead, Nevin, Bruni, Giannatti, the young rider who has progressed from category 2, part and parcel of this group as well. Absolutely class riders on the field today. So Kointsnen is here too, and Velt in the mix. It's a strong racing pack in category 1 as normal. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, you know, Matt, because when we get to Area 52 sprint, which these riders are coming up onto shortly, it's then a 10.8 kilometre transition to the Golden Gate sprint. And only after that do we start to see significant climbing on this course.
It is all uphill to that point, though. And the run into the sprint, I think I was watching the category 2 riders come in through where the sprint is positioned on course. And as you come diving into it, it's a downhill run into the sprint. So it's a very fast sprint. The sprint times, I mean, we're talking 18 seconds for the 200 meters previously. We're talking 13 seconds for category 2 going through category 3 going through category 2. You know, it's a much faster sprint. It suits different riders, and it could be that it's going to be a point where we're not going to see necessarily a real kick through because the riders are focused on the finish and they've not raced this race route before. But it will definitely suit different riders. You know, it is a whole different world in Area 52. We're seeing that on the left-hand side. I have to admit, I had a little bit of time out last week. I managed to take a few hours off in the evening. I watched a Star Wars film, and I think it was probably inspired by the fact that we were heading here because I'd seen which course we were going to, and I love this. I love this route. I love this world to ride on MyWhoosh. And I thought, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to watch a Star Wars film, one of the newer Star Wars films. It's very similar. There's a lot of cues from a lot of movies in here.
Well, if anybody can see Chewbacca along the side of the road in California, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I might like to do my Chewie impression.
No.
Oh.
So Maria Holdcroft in this group, as well as Asulia Kasani. Kasani is on the bike. You can see on the screen, and she's tapping out a strong rhythm. Her heart rate and her details on your screen at the moment, currently at 146. It's a steady pace at the moment for this pack. They are rolling strongly, but you can see just dropping down at the moment on the top corner of the screen, you can see the percentage descent as they're rolling into this sprint very, very quickly at 60 kilometers an hour.
I absolutely love sprints like this where you can come down, you belt down, the pack is already rolling and you're kicking from a higher speed and a higher pace, generally a bigger gear. Absolutely, I want a finish line about there. Of the whole race, never mind anything else. There are lots of racing on MyWhoosh, and one day I am going to find the race that has the finish line at the bottom of the downhill section. And in which case, watch out, world. As long as you're not any good, I might have a chance of beating you. Maybe, probably
well,
not.
maybe not then. Well, Celia Casani, Gabriela Guerrera, Amelia Velt, Dorothy Gonzalez Rua, all in the mix. But it's Doreen Chu from the Category 3 group. We saw her make connection with the pack. She takes the fastest time through the sprint section at Area 52, 13.661 seconds. Holweiler coming through into Johnson, Mabin, De Silva, Tacona, Sonnerson, all from Category 3. In 8th place, it's Jasper Illustra from Category 4. And then Hadlock and Tompkinson from Category 3 round out the top 10.
Those are your top 10. And as you can see, it's mostly Category 3 riders. The key thing for me here is the time. The time is 13 seconds. Now, in the game of where were Category 1, we had 55th place, we have 54th place. Category 1 are now at
67th.
They've gone backwards, but they haven't on your screen.
They haven't actually. Because I can tell you, they are pretty much rolling at exactly the same pace they were, and that's how they went through Area 52. Well, that's how they went through Area 52, but the push is on now on this very small rise. They're coming up and over the bridge, and Bruni Kasani are all in the mix at the front and pushing on. Fua, Guerra, Velt moving to and closing the gap. Bjarhead is there as well as Hermansen. So they're all coming back together again, but they've been tested on the flyover on the bridge. Their legs have been stretched. We've got one rider dangerously off the back of that Category 1 pack at the moment. We're going to need to close that down fairly swiftly because it's a very long stretch now into the Golden Gate Sprint. They've got 10 kilometres of transition to go.
It is an absolutely long old stretch from Area 52, but these little kickers that don't look much on the profile, that course profile, basically, we've got the first little bump, which is that first climb that we were talking about. Then we have lots of little, they're almost like undulations. Imagine it's like almost, they look on the screen almost like the grooves on a record. They don't look much, but they can have a great effect if they use correctly, if you get the movement in the right place. Because what we're going to see is these little kickers that give a chance to test the other riders. It's not just about breaking clear and establishing yourself in a lead. Riding on a bike is much more subtle than that, particularly the further up through the race fields you go. The subtleties between being on the limit, being pushed beyond your limit, between setting the race pace and having to respond to the race pace are there. And as we see another move going on the front, Catherine Furr again starts to wind this up. She's using all these moments to see what everybody else is doing. Gabby Guerra on the charge behind, 6 watts per kilo coming from Gabby in pursuit. Bassoni, Bruni. This is telling Furr, right, who's chasing? Who's putting the effort in? Who's maybe saving something? Who is on a good day? Who's on a bad day?
Who's letting everybody else do the work?
Exactly. Now, there's so much speculation. It's one of the things I was talking to a colleague from the UCI actually yesterday, and they were saying that the subtleties and the various techniques and tactics on the road and on esports cycling, it's so subtle in lots of ways, and yet there's so many of them. If you think there's like a whole load of tactics and a whole load of gameplays in chess, that is nothing.
It's just chess on wheels.
It is chess on wheels. I've got to say a big thank you to Hugh Porter, the legend. It is Hugh Porter, the man who I grew up doing my apprenticeship in commentary with. A big thank you to you for some of the most legendary phrases in cycling and in cycling commentary over the years. Chess on wheels is one of them.
Oh, well, if only I'd known that.
There you go. Chess on wheels is definitely what it's like, but I think there's more, because there's more variation here. You've got a set number of pieces in chess. Here, we have human beings that are basically represented by avatars. So human beings are all different. We're all different people. And you've got that combination all mixed together. The amount of variations in tactics, then throw in the different courses, it's infinitely variable. It's not quite infinite, but it might as well be.
It may as well be. What all the 4 race courses, all 4 race fields, all still in big packs at the moment. So Category 1 at 14.8 kilometres, one big group of riders. Category 2, well, we're seeing a bit of action on the front of Category 2 at the moment. They're coming up for 18 kilometres into the race. They're on the transition towards the Golden Gate Sprint, and there is is indeed some action on these rolling sections. In category 3, well, the bunch rolling strongly together, a big group at 20.7 kilometres into the race. And category 4, well, they're the leaders on the road. They were the first group out of the start pen earlier on. And they are, take a look at that, comfortably in a very large group.
Comfortably might be a relative thing. It is looking definitely like we are going to see groups of riders going into the first of our categorized climbs. Now, the Hawk Hills climb is a great climb in its own right, 1.1 kilometers. If you've been watching the Sunday Race Club regularly, you will have seen our riders go up that climb on the men's race, but not in the women's racing so far. That is the first of our climbs here today that is categorized. And that comes in at 23.6k. That is a fair way down the road at the moment. Now, the Golden Gate Sprint is by the Golden Gate Bridge at the moment. The riders in Category 4 at 22.6k have just come through the sprint into and over the Golden Gate Bridge. The first of our riders in Category 4 are the first leaders on the road. It's a big group on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Behind them, left-hand side, 21.5k, 1.2k behind. That is the Category 3 race field. Category 2, on there further up, further behind. And behind them, chasing our Category 1. Now, Jeremy Prado, Roberto Bassoni, Emily Mabbott, and Nikki Lloyd, all shown on your screen. Bassoni, the Category 1 rider in the group there. You can just see on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, and that is the avatar that is dead center of our screen with the blue cap, I think it is going to be. I don't think that's a bandana. It's a cap on our rider, a casquette. And that is the way that she uses to pick herself out. And personalization of your avatar is really important when you're racing, to know exactly in the split second with sweat dripping in your eyes as you're on the limit, which rider's yours and where you are in that pack.
And one of the things I liked there, Matt, was you could see the clock in the background of Nikki Lloyd coming up for 9:30 in the morning. And one of those things it just reminds you of is that our riders and our racers here are racing at very different time zones around the world.
Indeed. And we have riders all around the globe. We're in with Emily Mabbin at the moment, the rider who's just sitting at the back of this pack as we come into the Golden Gate Sprint. They're coming up on a group of Category 4 riders who've been dispatched from the leading pack. And as we come in, you can just see on the top right-hand side the course profile. That's the white line. That represents the shape of the ground the riders are traveling over. The vertical yellow line, that is the line showing where the riders are, and it shows us here that Nikki Lloyd is just on to the climb. So happy birthday, have a go at a climb.
Well, 15 riders in this leading pack in Category 4. They were the first riders out of the start pen today. They're currently the leaders on the road at the moment, and they have just started the Hawk Hills climb. It's just 1.1 kilometres with an average gradient of 4.8%, but at the moment, that's immaterial because it's nearly 10% under their wheels on the early stages.
And that's why an average gradient is just an indicator. You need to get out and ride the courses. You need to ride these. And this is why, one of the reasons I think why the riders are being very careful with their efforts. You can see at the moment that with Category 1 just making the way in around the edge of Alcatraz, and the gel pretty much transformed and brought magically in touch of the riders. So it's not quite this easy to get in and out of those areas in real life. These riders have been tested a little bit by the pace going up and down.
And that's because of the rolling nature of the terrain. This is a really rolling terrain, and you can see that on the top right-hand corner of your screen, which gives you the gradient. So currently they're on a kicker, and it will go up and over the top, and it's going to be very, very steep shortly. And the riders are testing each other here. Look at Bassoni. Bassoni's just shy of 7 watts per kilo at the moment, stretching the group, trying to make the group smaller, because the class in this field, you do not want to take what has been a group of 19 riders into the final climb together.
And if you're feeling strong in the middle of the race, and there is the opportunity to use that strength, to use the ability to kick down, if you're feeling good, you do quite often need to use that, because you don't know that you're going to have that kick. maybe going now will do damage and hurt people so that they're not able to hurt you later because they have the strength later on. It's not just about the obvious tactics, it's about those subtle tactics that we're talking about, those ways that you can make a difference for a relatively little amount of energy, or at a time when you have that energy available, because it's not there all the time, all race for everybody.
No, it's not. And Personi right up the front of this pack at the moment with Bruni and McCarthy, Engstrom, Fua, Nevin is in there as well. These riders all watching the front of the pack, and the riders are watching the front of the pack all the way through. Category 4 and Category 3 are the furthest down the road. And you know what? Category 3 are reeling Category 4 back in. Category 4 on the Hawk Hills climb. They're the leaders on the road at the moment. And Vink, Bremner, Bago and Idzik, the 4 riders who are up the front. Bogren and Alzat not far behind. Then a small gap to Alicia Fielder. I tell you something, this leading group, or what was a leading group of 15 riders going into the base of this climb, you can see on the bottom left-hand corner as they're coming up towards the top, absolutely decimated. Category 3 who are doing the chasing, they're also on the Hawk Hills climb. The group had whittled down to 18 riders on the way in. I think we're going to see a stretch on this group, and we are. I don't think we're going to see a leading pack of 18 riders when we get to the top.
No, we're starting to see a split. We're starting to see some of those riders just fighting to stay on. Rosa Herrera fighting, though, at the front of this group rather than at the back of the group here. Really pushing on here in Category 3. And Herrera's effort here, you can see she pushed herself right up to the front of that group. She's got sliding room if she needs it. I don't think she does. This is clearly suiting Herrera. Herrera really working hard here. Rosa Herrera, absolute class on the bike. And you can see the effort that she's put in. It is really starting to tell. Broken the Category 3 group apart. She split them in two. What she needs to do now is to continue to push to get some assistance, and we will see that group will be potentially halved as they go through. Look at the damage that's being done. We can see Herrera's looking. That is key. The damage done to the group behind. This is the pace being put on, and that gives you extra impetus, extra inspiration when you're on the front. You look back and you see those gaps. You know you want to push because you want to make it hard for those people behind to get on, and this is an opportunity to take those odds closer to your favour.
Well, I know we were talking about birthdays earlier on. Claudia Hyde, who is in that leading group in Category 3. It's also her birthday today.
Happy birthday.
So happy birthday, Claudia Hyde. What a great ride you are having on those birthday vibes as she goes through the banner signifying the top of the Hawk Hills climb. She's in the leading group. So De Silva, Hadlock, Herrera, Johnson, Hyde, Tompkinson and Mabin and Simkin are around 5 seconds back. Bergin is in the mix as well. In fact, Holly Bergin now in that polka dot skin suit, signifying the fastest time up the climb in that category today.
And remember, the times are up the climb. It's not the first over the top of the climb. They are through each segment, whether that is the sprint or the climb. So left-hand side of your screen, they are the riders at the moment who are right up there in the mix. On the right-hand side of your screen, you have the riders leading on the road, and the leader, individual leader on the road, is Ella Vink. Vink leading through ahead of Alzate and Bogren, and they're chasing at 3 seconds with Idzik and Bago, along with Fielder, who's just about in contact. I think that group is going to come together and it'll just re-establish themselves. The Western Movie Set Sprint, the easiest name in the world to say very quickly, is down there. And I think at the moment, the riders who have made it through that showdown is Vink, Bremner, Fielder, Idzik, Alzi, and Bogren. Bago still chasing behind, but potentially 6-7 riders in Category 4. They're the first riders through that sprint. The last riders through that sprint is likely to be the Category 1. They're currently at 20.8K, so they have currently a little bit of distance to go. They've got to get to the Golden Gate Sprint, that bridge being the indicator that it's not far away. It is one of the flatter sections of this race route, because although it looks like there's a lot of bumps as we've seen on the way through, little depression coming up As we go down here, we're going to just drop down. It's a 5% descent, so you can see that speed picking up to 50 kilometers an hour, 30 miles an hour if you work in old money. And then they're going to come back up. It's an old English phrase, isn't it? Old money. Yeah, once upon a time, England used to work in imperial. Now it works in metric. Honest gov. It's not backwards at all. Okay, tell you what we need to do. We need to tell you just why these riders are racing. Whilst we've got a little bit of a gap, but it's only a little one. Remember, these riders are not just racing for pride, for performance, for the fun of racing, for the ability to train themselves at being in the best race series going. As far as I'm concerned, it is also for prizes in the top 5 as well. And don't forget that to do that, you have to be over the finish line in the first 5. You have to be verified. The verification process for our riders covers all of our riders in our race fields here on MyWhoosh. And if you get through that verification process, which you should do if you do everything right, well, guess what? You're going to be in the running for the prizes for the top 5. Now, today is the final qualifier in August, and that means that the individual classification on the right-hand side of your screen applies. When we go to next week, the team classification jumps in. So in category 4, the prize money runs from 432 AED for 5th, right the way through to 2,160 AED for 1st in category 4. In category 3, it jumps up 720 AED for 5th, right through to 3,600 AED in 1st. The team classification prize jumping up from 10,800 to 18,000 AED. No surprises that when we move to category 2, 5th place now moving up to 1,200 AED and 6,000 AED for 1st, with a whopping 30,000 AED up for grabs for the team competition for the win next week in our finals, which is why the teams need to get those team tactics dialed. And of course, we have our individual classification in category 1 jumping up from 2,000 for 5th, 4,000 for 4th, 6,000 for 3rd, 8,000 AED for 2nd, and 10,000 AED for 1st. Today, there are 10,000 AED up for grabs for 1st place individually. And at the end of the month, next week, our team competition, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and 50,000 AED. Okay, so we are going to take our riders in through the Golden Gate, which they've just come through, and then we will be heading over to the legendary feature that is Emma's Exchange. But Emma's Exchange is on pause at the moment. Trading is suspended whilst we just get the result of the Golden Gate sprint, because as you can see, for the first time, we've got yellow jerseys on our screen in the sprint competition, which means that the racing is on. Well and truly, Kasani in 8th place, Bruni in 9th, Veld in 10th, chasing a whole host of riders. Chu is still up there in category 3. The fastest time, though, set by illustrator of category 4. So all 4 of our categories represented category 4 in red, category 3 in blue, category 2 in green, and category 1 in yellow. Now, we'll come back to some more data analysis from there, but that's all of our riders through. Now, Emma, let's quickly go to Emma's Exchange. This is the legendary feature where we tell you what 10,000 AED or 50,000 AED or any figure from that prize fund is somewhere out around the world. As our exchange master, the mathematician, Professor Emma Martin, I've given her don't ask me to recite the numbers and letters after a name. I can't remember all those. But Emma's Exchange today is from...
Well, we are going to do 2 different things. So in terms of the top prize in category 1, individual prize 10,000 AED in honour of Holly Bergen, who at the time when I was doing the exchange was the fastest time on the Hawk Hills climb. She's not anymore. Category 2 have been through. But so Holly Bergen from Yorkshire in the UK, 10,000 AED, £2,103
sterling, GBP.
UK pounds, as of Emma's Exchange.
They don't have for anybody thinking that Yorkshire has a different currency.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It's not in sheep's wool, coal, or Thanos, or anything else. There's no currency unique to Yorkshire, much as they would probably love it.
And can I just say, next week, if Catherine Fuer's team takes the win in the team competition,
50,000 AED.
50,000 AED is 11,789 Swiss francs.
That's a lot of UCI fines.
Are your socks too long?
Are your socks too long?
Pay us 100 francs. It's like a monopoly thing, isn't it?
It is. It's Swiss francs. So the AED is, of course, the currency of the UAE, which is where we run from on MyWhoosh, and where, of course, the finals of the World Championship will be coming from. Keep up to date with all the details from that. All of the details from MyWhoosh on the YouTube channel, and please make sure you subscribe. Now,
Category 3 race here, Matt. These are the leaders of the Category 3 race.
They're not the front of the race overall,
they're not, but they have caught the chase group in Category 2, and they are starting to really work their way up now into the top 10, being led by Holly Bergin in that polka dot skin suit. She's leading the charge in Category 3, now on the final climb of the day. This is the Spring Road climb. They are moving through this now and working their way up into 7th place. Rebecca Johnson, Rosa Herrero, Aline De Silva, Angel Hadlock, Holly Bergin. That is the leading group of 6 riders in Category 3. They've split that race field. 18 riders came into the bottom of the Hawk Hills. It's now 6 riders leading the charge at the front in Category 3. At the front of Category 4, Ella Vink is on a lone attack at the moment. Bridget Bremner, Natalia Idzik are doing the chasing. But as we head back, there's been some changes too in Category 1. Well, they're at 24.7 kilometres. They are up and over the Hawk Hills now. And, well, it is causing issues and challenges. We've got riders dropping off the back. Matilda Field, one of those. Lisa Hermansen is with her. Asulia Kasani as well. But it was Amelia Velt who went over the quickest. 2 minutes, 20 seconds, 0.795. Slightly quicker than her teammate Merle Bruni. Holdcroft, Coinston, McCarthy, Biarhead, Bassoni, Fua, Guerra and Menendez, all within 0.8 of a second, covering the top 10 riders up and over the climb. Well, Menendez followed by Field, Kasani, Hermansen and Nevin up and over the top. But we know, because we have seen what is going on beneath those results, that this field is split. So Amelia Velt leading the field, Mina Coinston and Catherine Fuhr, Maria Holdcroft, Merle Bruni, all in the mix in the leading of that Category 1 race. On the right-hand side of your screen, 4 kilometres further up the course, and they are indeed up the course because they are climbing the Spring Road climb. It's Bergin, Herrero, Hadlock, De Silva and Johnson locked together with Claudia Hyde, the birthday rider, fighting their way up now towards the top 5 of this race. They are on a charge.
They are, and wouldn't it be a great birthday present to take the win? There is a cycling fable. People who are regulars on the Sunday Race Club will have heard me mention this before. There is a bit of a rumour, a legend, a history that you go better on your birthday, that you are on a better form when it's around your birthday. So for me, in January, my birthday's in January, so please don't hesitate to send me coffee or a cake or ice cream. Or just faster legs would be good. You go fast around your birthday. So mine would be the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, none of the races I liked were at the beginning of the year, so it wasn't really much use to me. Will it be the day where we see our birthday rider on the top of our screen? Now, as we go through the Western Movie Set Sprint, this is the sprint after the first of our climbs, after the Hawk Hills climb. The fastest time being set by Van Shaw, Kelsey Jade Van Shaw of South Africa, going through in 17.690 seconds. Behind is Snova of the United States of America. Then it's going to be Lithuanian Asulia Kasani going through in 3rd place. A Swedish rider, Julia Montgomery, goes through behind her. Then we've got Illustri goes through in 5th. We've got Monnier going through as well. So a real mix of riders at the front through the Western Sprint, indicating the racing really is on, but not necessarily giving us a real indication of where those riders are. So let's give you a bit of a view of where our riders are, taking up where those distances are. 27.2k for the riders in Category 1. The furthest riders up the road are at 30.5k. To put that into context, we've got 35 kilometres of racing to do. we have got a total of 500 meters of climbing to do today. The riders at the moment out on course. Vink leading the way through, just over that 30k marker, just over 22k for category 1. When you look at the screens here, you can see the climb at the end, Spring Road climb. It's long. It's got a reasonable amount of ascent, but for me, the key thing for this is from the Western movie set sprint, Emma. There is climbing pretty much from there all the way to the top. So you go through the Western movie set sprint, you go on to the climb. It's already tough before you hit the official climb segment. And that climbing segment finishes as well 500 meters before the finish itself.
Yeah, it does indeed. So 500-meter run into the finish line to the checkered flag at the top of the Spring Road climb, but it's a 6.3-kilometer climb with an average gradient of 4.4% before they find that final 500 meters. 275 meters of climbing. That's over half the climbing on the course in the last 6 kilometers.
And a lot of that is offset by rollers, by flat sections, by sections where you're going to change pace, potentially with descents. Our riders at the moment making the way in and around. You can see Ursula Kasani is the rider in category 1 at the moment at 28k. So just about to hit the official climb start. Just gone over the little bump before. You can see the banner coming into sight. Top left-hand screen, bottom right-hand side. Now onto our big screen. These are the riders on the road you can see coming up here. That we're in with Bridget Bremner, who's in 9th position as they come through the giant redwood here in the forests of California, going through the trunk there. And these huge trees are witnessing the riders as they make the way in through. They have caught back all but one of our riders on the road, and that is Ella Vink, who is up the road in front. They've pulled back the escapee in category 3, more importantly for the category 3 riders in Bergen as well.
Well, they have indeed, and the pack really rolling now. 8 riders, I think, in that chase group, and the rider they're chasing is Ella Vink. So if Bremner can stay in the pack, because Bridget Bremner is one of those riders in red, the category 4 riders having been caught, if that group can help pull those category 4 riders up to Ella Vink, well, Vink is still motoring clear of the group. Will she be caught? Well, who knows? Riders potentially needing to push on here. Head and Field just getting distance now from the leading group. They too, this is category 1, they too are now on the Spring Road climb. All 4 of our race categories now on the final climb, and it's Fua, Bruni, Bassoni, Quinston in the mix as well. This is the leading group. McCarthy is there, Menendez is there, Holdcroft and Velt, Guerra is there as well. So Bassoni too. Those are the leading riders in category 1. They've got a 5-second gap now back to Head and Field. Those 2 riders need to work. Kasani and Nevin further back down the climb. Well, the leading group in category 1 now motoring. They've just gone through the 29-kilometer mark. They're chasing category 2. Anna Svardström, Marcel Smithers, Marine Mauger, Jeremy Prado, all at the front of that group. Category 3 are becoming very close to leaders on the road. The leader on the road at the moment is Ella Vink. She's 10 seconds up the road at 31.9 kilometres. She's got just over 3 kilometres to go till she gets to the checkered flag, but Bergin, Johnson, Hyde, Herrero, De Silva and Hadlock, you can see them in the background. If Vink could only look over her shoulder, well, her avatar, she'd see them coming.
Well, that's one of the great advantages. She'll see that radar view behind her. Each of our riders have that radar view. They can see what's coming. She'll know not only is it category 3 who are chasing, there are category 4 riders. They will be on the way up there. Let's see who is going to get there, who can make the junction as they come up. Will we see Browner being able to close the gap down? She's been dropped by the chasing group. These riders potentially are going to be our leaders on the race. So let's see how they go. Let's see Whether or not they get that gap, they should get, I think, 8 seconds now. We've still got distance left, 32.1k. The distance is running down, and you can see this is a big pack now.
Yeah,
For their
but it's smaller.
It is, but they've got to remember here that they are racing. It's not just about pulling back the riders and being the very first over the line. It's about being the first in your race. It's very easy to get carried away with the riders around you when they're not your category. You want those prizes. You want to be up there. This is Vink at the moment on the front. It's good to see Ella Vink back on form. We used to see Vink doing a Vink. Ella Vink doing a storming ride off the front. She's back doing it again. Can she make it stick? She's continuing to push. The group is chasing, and they are bringing her back. Rosa Herrera has been instrumental in a lot of the action here. She's been chasing hard. Has she done too much too soon? Who's got something left?
Well, Bergin, Hyde, Herrero, Johnson and De Silva, the 5 riders now in the leading group of 3. They've dropped to Angel Hadlock on this climb. It was 6 riders, don't forget. It's now 5 leading the Category 3 race. Ella Vink now being caught by the leaders in this pack of Category 3 riders. Bremner and the other Category 4 riders were not able to stay with the pace of the group. They're now over 30 seconds back. So Ella Vink now having 30 plus seconds on the chasers in Category 4, and 5 riders clear leading Category 3. Well, they are coming up towards the final 1.5 kilometres of this race, but a little bit further back down the race for Anna Svardström with Marcel Smithers, Prado Van Shaw. There are 5 riders leading the Category 2 race as well.
And Category 1, well, they are being put under pressure by Catherine Fuhr on the attack on another steep section. The moment it got steeper, she kicked again. Fuhr with Bruni behind her at the moment, trying to stay in her wheel tracks, trying to make sure that she can be in position at the key time. The Sweat Sensation riders at the moment are together. It's a team of 2 up time trial on the front. If they can continue to stay clear of the chasers behind, Fuhr and Bruni together here, can they pull clear? If Fuhr times this right, they're still doing nearly 30 kilometers an hour at times. This means that there is draft available if they can hold the wheels, if they can stay in position. They are absolutely motoring their way up the road, though. 32.9 now, nearly 33 kilometers with 2k to go on the course. We have got Bergin, Johnson, Herrera, a gap back to Hyde, a gap to De Silva, a gap back to Hadlock in Category 3. But at the moment, Johnson now setting the pace, a rider we regularly see on our screens in the window into their world. Rebecca Johnson has improved her climbing week on week on week. Here she is. Can she make it count on the final 2 kilometers?
Well, she's had some time off of the Sunday Race Cup for holiday. She's had the time off for illness, but Rebecca Johnson is absolutely motoring now. Rosa Herrero in 2, Holly Bergin in 3, Claudia Hyde starting to get dropped. So is De Silva. The 5 riders looking like it's going to come down to 3. They've got 1.8 kilometers to go in that race to see who can pick up the top spot. Will Hyde and De Silva come back? Is this Johnson, Bergin and Herrero away now? Well, Ella Vink is a little bit behind them, just 100 meters. She's seen them go up round the corner on the boardwalk. She's leading the Category 4 race, and she's got around 38 seconds on Bremner in 2.
At least, I'm going to say that at least, I reckon, because I'm just taking a look at those times of yo-yo, and Hadlock has now gone to 50 seconds the nearest rider. I think Bremner now is going to be a long, long way, but I think they've resigned themselves to the fact that Vink is clear up at the front of that race and now focusing on staying clear behind. Now, this is the race, the very front of the race on the race route, 33.5k done. 1.5 kilometers to go. Your leaders are together. 3 riders here. The yellow cap, that is Rebecca Johnson. So the yellow hat on the front is Johnson. Bergin in the polka dot skin suit. Herrera immediately behind. These 3 are fighting for position as Johnson once again is trying to make this hard. 3.9, 4.2 watts per kilo. She's really sticking it to them in Category 3. Catherine Fuhr is not just sticking it to them. I think she has made the gap stick to Merle Bruni. We're just taking a look to see that time gap, but Fua on fire, clearly loving the course here in California on MyWhoosh.
Well, Fua is indeed dreaming of a win in California today. So is Rebecca Johnson, Holly Bergin and Rosa Herrera. Which one of those three will make it to the top first, to the checkered flag? There's not much further to go, but Claudia Hyde, well, Hyde, happy birthday, Claudia, but she's currently lying in fourth place. De Silva just 1 second behind her.
And remember, the prizes are down to fifth. So between Hyde and De Silva, there is a monetary value for being ahead, even if it's only by 1 second. They've got to make it stick to the line, though. And that is going to be absolutely key. Category 1 leaders, 32K underneath the wheels, heading for 32.5. The leaders on the road with less than 1 kilometre to go are the Category 3 riders on the right-hand side of your screen. The blue helmet is Herrera. The yellow cap is Johnson. The polka dot skin suit is Bergin. And they're now thinking about their finish. It's 800 meters to go. They will see the polka dot banner at 500 to go. And this is not a simple finish. They have not raced this finish before. This will show who has been riding. Get your timing right, because you've ridden this course, because you know what's coming and where it is going to be really, really, really advantageous.
Well, Bergen digging in to stay with the group at the moment, continuing to try and manage the effort to enough to stay with them, but not too much, because there could well be a sprint coming. We are now at 700 meters to go. The polka dot banner just around the corner, signifying the top of the climb. Then it's a 500-meter run to the line for our leaders in Category 3. Our leader in Category 1 is working her way through the race field up the climb. Absolutely motoring now is Catherine Fua, but underneath the end banner signifying the finish of the Spring Road climb is Holly Bergin, Rebecca Johnson and Rosa Herrera. These three riders have ridden clear of Hyde and De Silva over the latter stages of this race. They've also ridden clear of Angel Hadlock, and they're coming in for the finish.
This is the last little kicker before we get to the line here. We are at 300 meters to go, and now Bergen is in trouble because Johnson has kicked again. Herrera has gone with her there at 7 watts per kilo for Herrera.
Bergen's coming at 7 watts per kilo. We're on screen with Rosa Herrera. Can she take Rebecca Johnson? That's the finish line. They're side by side. It's Herrera and Johnson as Herrera comes over the top. I think that's Rosa Herrera. Congratulations to Herrera. Got her timing absolutely beautiful before she takes the win from Rebecca Johnson, from Holly Bergin. Fabulous race by those three at the top of the climb. This is Ella Vink, and she's on her way to the finish line as well.
She is indeed. We've got Category 3 of 2 and 1 still to make the way in to the finishing line here, and our Category 4 leader to get to the line, that's Ella Vink. She's up the road. Vink is on her way as well. These riders making their way into the finish as Kelsey J. Van Shaw goes in underneath the line here with Marine Monia. So they're going to be the riders in Category 2 heading in. Our Category 4 race leader, Ella Vink, about 100 meters to the line. So she's about to make her way in, I think, to the banner. The battle is on behind her, those as they come towards the line. Here's Ella Vink taking victory in Category 4. In Category 2, Marine Monnier of France up against Kelsey J. Van Shaw of South Africa, trying to make their way into the finish.
They are indeed, Monnier and Van Shaw side by side, but it is Marine Monnier, the French road racer, who's going to take the win here today. She's in the polka dot banner. She takes the win in Category 2. It is Van Shaw who comes in for second place. As we watch Angel Hadlock come over the finish line as well. Catherine Fua, well, she's got 1.3 kilometres of climbing left to get to that checkered flag. She's got 8 seconds on Mel Bruni, 12 seconds on McCarthy. McCarthy is doing a storming ride in third place at the moment on this climb. I think she's got company, mind you, because I can see back down the mountain we have indeed McCarthy climbing. Take a look at that. I think McCarthy's only 4 seconds back off Bruni. She could well come back to Bruni's wheel, but Mel Bruni up and out of the saddle, pushing on. on. Catherine Fua, well, she is climbing like only Fua can, and she's now only got 900 metres to that finish line. Well, Fua's got 900 metres, but Bruni and McCarthy, well, it's second and third place. Who is going to make which position?
It's going to be key for those prizes that you saw on your screens earlier. This is going to be about getting those prizes, getting the positions, getting that final bit of training in as well, that final bit of racing before we head to the end of the month and the team competition that comes into play in our finals. That's going to be next Sunday. Before then, these riders know they've got to finish this off in style. Catherine Fua has given absolutely everything. You can see on the screen on the left-hand side that she is absolutely using everything to get up there. Flying is the word. The flying Fua goes up. And at the moment, Catherine Fua, how do you beat this woman? It is really, really hard. She has really set herself up to be the hot favourite time and time again.
She's got a phenomenal skill set, has Catherine Fua, and she really knows how to race, and race strongly she does. So Fua now with 300 metres to go. She's on the run to the finish line. Bruni and McCarthy are in 2 and 3, but they are 10 seconds back. Catherine Fua is going to be clear for the win. She's going to come round the corner and see the UCI banner. Well, Fua has been to California today. She's dreamt the whole way, and she's dreamt of taking the win, which she does. Catherine Fua wins in California. Qualifier number 3 in August. Well, Bruni comes across the line in 2. Mary-Kate McCarthy is going to come through for 3rd place today. And Maria Holdcroft looking like 4th place, back down the mountain at the moment. But we're in with Bruni. She's through. She's over the line. So is McCarthy in 3rd.
So the riders making the way in and through. This is where we stand at the moment with the riders as they come through. This is live. And as you can see, our category 2 was Van Shaw, Schwarstrom and Smithers. The top 3 with Predo and Snova taking the positions 4th and 5th. McAlkine coming in 6th position from Walkenhurst and Sharon Millo. Catherine Fua, though, of the Sweat Sensations, taking the win, 1 hour and 4 seconds.
Okay, so I'm going to update you really quickly. So it's Fua from Bruni, from McCarthy, from Koinstinen, from Menenzes and Holdcroft, Bassoni, Velt. Top 8 riders now through in category 1.
There we go. Emma's called them out, and they're up on your screens. Now you can see them coming in and through. Don't be fooled by the green jersey of Mel Bruni. She's category 1 rider, but took the sprints competition to gain that green skin suit. Amazing riding, 9 seconds to second place. The 2 teammates coming through in 1 and 2. Mina Koinstinen coming through in 4th place, setting up the Sweat Sensations for a good run in to our finals that come up next week. They have got riders packing out the top 10. So we run a little bit further down. You can see in our category 2 competition, lots of very strong riders who will be in the mix. And remember, all the riders have that team competition available in categories 4, 3, 2, and 1. It's been our first visit to California. It has not disappointed. There's some amazing graphics. There's a fantastic world to explore. Our riders, well, they explored the limits of pace and power on the climb. And I have to say, they have absolutely excelled today. If you want to see the worlds on MyWhoosh, if you want to keep up to date with everything, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You're probably watching it right now. Please do make sure you give it subscribe. Make sure you have notifications on to give you an indication. Just only 3 days ago, we had the MyWhoosh Epic World come out. So if you've got a minute of your time, it's well worth a watch. Absolutely amazing what you can do when you let a whole load of designers let loose on the world. The major update news, well, that came out 4 days ago, the 3.8.0 10-minute video on MyWhoosh YouTube channel. Make sure you give that a watch as well. Absolutely critical. It tells you so much of the new news. And remember, of course, MyWhoosh, of course, always improving. It's been a pleasure putting words to the action. My name is Matt Payne. I will be back with the men's race with Emma Martin. We will be bringing you all of that race action. Do give us a follow at biking_. Emma and at Matt Fixer Payne. Let us know what you're racing, what your thoughts are. What was the race like today? The more you tell us, the more we can tell everybody else. But for now, for the end of the week, of week 3 in the women's competition. Stay safe. We will see you very shortly for the men's race. But from Emma and me, goodbye.
Goodbye.